Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My guest today is Alex Dumas. He's going to talk about when we get those setbacks, what do they really mean, and how setbacks can be set up to be your comeback. He says in 2015, he experienced the worst year of his life with the decline of his mother's health and eventually passing, and the loss of a job, the collapse of his financial service business. Through rough times, landed him in a role of following a year and introduced him to a profession that he loves and that changed his life, coaching. Alex is an executive coach, CEO of Abundance Daily Coaching, and the vice president of BIPOC Coaching Collective. He's an expert in sales and marketing with track record generating six figures in revenue and six-figure launches. Alex has a background in psychology and a decade of leadership experience in the nonprofit world. So, since 2018, he has been a trusted advisor and coaching top performers, leaders around the world in the areas of communication, leadership, and sales. And the most important thing about him is that he's a devoted husband to Sarah, good name, and a loving father to Julian and AJ. I call those comebacks redirects. You know, we get things that happen to us in life, and I call it the nudge, nudge, wink, wink, which is trying to steer you in another direction. And you don't get the message, you get the cosmic 2x4. And you're flattened and you've got to start again from kind of the ashes, become the phoenix. But when we are rising and we truly tune in, that's when we really actually begin to understand why we had that setback and what direction we're really meant to go in. So although it's hard to go through, it is a gift, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. It has gifted me a lot of opportunities to show resilience, to show creativeness, resourcefulness as these different challenges are happening in my life and just kind of going on this time period that you expressed, right? The year 2015 being really tough, really challenging. Uh, that would be for a lot of folks like world fall apart. This is the come to Jesus moment. This
Yeah.
is this is where hell is falling apart. But yeah, like you said, it's the Phoenix moment. It has to be those experiences that kind of test your mettle, like see what you're made out of.
Mm,
Because if you have a big goal, a big vision, a big dream, it's not meant for a brittle spirit.
mm,
There's going to be plenty of adversity, plenty of things that knock you off your path, and your commitment, your enthusiasm for it is going to really show, are you meant to have it?
mm.
Can you create it?
I think it also shows us, importantly, what's your why? Why do you want to do it? Why is it so important to you? Why will you kind of go through the storms of life in order to make it happen? And if you have a strong enough why, then it doesn't matter what the storms are because you know why you're doing it.
Yeah. I would say to add on to that, like, yeah, the why and the who, right? For me,
Mm,
my why, it's my wife Sarah, my daughter Juliana, my son AJ, right? I have three powerful reasons to grasp onto and to keep moving forward, even in those moments. I'm like, man, what am I doing? This is stupid, right? We all can have those questions like, why am I here? Why is this happening? And then the who part of it is kind of twofold. Like, one, who do I need to be to make it through this thing? Who do I need to be to actually see the light at the end of this tunnel? And who is available to me that can help me, that can support me, that can serve me, that I can serve? And I think those two types of questions can help anybody. And whether you're in business or not,
yeah.
whatever profession you're in, if you're going, we're human, we're gonna have hard times in our lives.
Mm,
And those types of questions I think can help guide us through.
Mm. Whether you have people looking back at you and that's your reason to, to push through, or whether it's just your face in the mirror of, why do I want to do this? Why am I putting myself through that? Could I take the easy road? No, there's no easy road, but there are easier roads, right? And
Yeah.
if you find the passion, the conviction, the purpose, that also becomes your why. And I think I've been doing this nearly 12 years and 10 and a half years of my own network, and I've had a lot of ups and downs during this. And what kept me going was why I was doing it. And I think that that kind of why is important to know. Why are you doing it? Yes, you're doing it for family, people are counting on you, but why are you doing it? What are you getting out of it? What is your driving force? And I think we really need to look at that because otherwise we're just doing and not being.
Great question. Yeah. I would say, yeah, for me, it's that satisfaction of helping people, right? And obviously there's in my work, right, there's monetary payoff too, so that's a part of it. But even if the money fades, right, the fulfillment of
Yes.
helping somebody do something that they or at least see a new possibility that they can live into. Because I know what that's like of not having that, of not feeling that I'm capable or competent. Like there's no path, there's no way for me to, how can I ever get this thing, right?
Hmm.
It's impossible, right?
Yes.
Impossible. And then somebody comes along and says, no, actually, it is actually possible, and you're more than capable of doing this. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna help you, right? Not teach me,
Mm.
but just help me see that, oh, I can, and then I can start taking action on doing that. So yeah, that's a great distinction right there. And now I'm curious for you, like you said, for 12, 13 years, you've been doing this. Like, why?
Why?
What's your
Because,
payoff?
yeah, my payoff is knowing that right now I've got 3,500 shows out there that are filled with wisdom. That's why we call self-discovery wisdom. People in their own self-discovery have discovered the wisdom of their knowledge, not the knowledge, the wisdom of their knowledge and how to use it and whom it serves. Because we are all here in service of one another. And when we
Yeah.
find that service and we truly are committed to it, it becomes our passion, then that service really can multiply and ripple out. So I do this to bring people on like you that are the answer to somebody. There's that crossroads in life. And that, I know I need to move forward, but I don't know how. I can't read the map. And that's really what
Mm.
it is. You're showing them a map, helping them to navigate their way forward by being able to actually understand the map that is before them.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And with that map going forward, for me, what I see is the path is going to be backwards, like toward the
Mm.
inner, the
Yes.
self,
Yes.
discovering who you are, making peace with it, making coming from a place that you're loving both sides, right? The light
Mm.
and the dark, the things that people see, they love about you, and the things that you may hide and you may be ashamed of, might be judging yourself over. All right, those things are going to exist. How how effective is it to live for your judgment versus your actual possibility, your strength, your contribution, the way you serve? Not that we ignore that. The other stuff is there, it's going to be there. Okay. But let's think of the bigger picture. How can I make a difference for other people around me?
Mm. That is the big question. And we call that the 10%. Um, Darcy Lang, a good one to listen to. She talks about the 90% is everything that we are walking towards and want to illuminate and want to live in. But there's always 10% of our life experience or traumas or things that, those shadows that
Yeah.
want more of that other percentage. And it's for us to pay attention to them because when they come up, they're there for a reason. Are you feeling
Yeah.
insecure? Is this telling you to question something? What little, what person kind of sparked or triggered something inside of you? Pay attention to the 10% because if you don't, it does creep up and start eating at another 90%. But we're always going to have a 10%er of our life
Yeah.
experience kind of. wanting to piggyback, and it's up to us to recognize it and go, you're staying at the 10%.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's in our genetic code, right? That's how
Hmm.
we've stayed alive
Hmm.
for so long. There's a threat outside. Something doesn't feel right. Oh, it's getting dark, right? And sometimes it helps us in those cases where there's real danger. And then the challenge is when we have our imagined fear. I
Mm-hmm.
want to say hi to this person. I want to get this business. I want to do this. Oh, but it's really safe back
Yes.
here. And then there's those people who just figure out to make peace with it, dance with it,
Hmm.
and thrive.
Mm. I kind of look at a couple of different type of fears. There's the common sense fear. Do not walk in front of the bus. You will get flattened. Right? Don't
Yeah,
stand in the middle of a tornado. You will be
yeah.
swept
You feel
off.
like Captain Obvious must have wrote
Yeah,
those, like, yeah,
exactly. Which, some people don't seem to get that, but there's the other fear of the fear of the unknown. And I think if we, instead of
yeah,
going, the unknown is fear, instead of say the wonderment of the unknown, the discovery
mm,
of the unknown, along with all your life experience and everything, and being in tune with your own little hairs on the back of your neck, your own common sense
mm,
fear, instead of looking at it, well, what if I will be rejected? Or what if this, or what if that? All
yeah,
those what ifs are going to stop you from moving forward. But instead, if you change it to what if this is something extraordinary I'm on the brink of? And if you get
yeah,
rejection, don't look at it as it's take it personally. You're just not the right fit.
yeah. It's a great question. What if, right?
Mm,
And kind of going into the space of sales, right? Your audience, business builders, people who are in service based, entrepreneurs, CEOs, all these type of folks. If they labeled every piece of feedback as rejection, right? If it doesn't go their way, right, the way we
yes.
want it, then it's tough. That's an uphill battle.
Mhm.
That's like, oh my goodness, I have to muster up the courage to 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 sell this thing, right? But what if it's, we have something really good to offer? It's no different from, Sarah, if you and me were in the same room, I'd be like, hey, Sarah, would you like some water, right?
Mm,
Would you like would you like a sandwich or something like that, right? I'm a waiter. I'm here serving.
yes.
If Yeah, we'll use that as an example. I'm your waiter. I'm serving you. Would you like this, miss? Would you like this? And then you say no, and I go, oh my goodness, I must be the worst server in the world. I'm terrible. I'm not cut out for this waiting thing. I'm gonna go hide underneath a rock or something like that. No, it's just feedback. That person was not interested in water at this time.
Exactly. Exactly. I like the Don Ruse four agreements, and apparently there's five. I don't know what the fifth one is. They got a new one up, but
Ah,
speak your word with integrity, right? Always
yeah,
own who you are and what you say. Don't take things personally because people are reflecting on you, but sometimes they can also be reflecting an inner lack of confidence from you, right? So that could be a mirror
yeah.
to something going on. Don't assume, ask. Right? You don't know a
Hmm.
person's story or anything else until you ask and inquire, and do your very best based on what you deem is your best. Your conscience says, you gave it your all today. That's good enough. And other people, you could have pushed a bit further. You know it inside yourself, but it's you to judge that, not anyone else to judge it. I don't know what the fifth one is. I've got to look it out. Anybody knows, put comments in our show here. Tell us what that fifth one is. But they're really good codes of conduct that, I think they're taking it personally. Nobody wants to be rejected. But if we can
Hmm.
go, this isn't a rejection, it's an observation, or it's a reflection maybe on something insecure of me, or it's somebody imposing their own insecurity on me,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great data for, in the world of sales. Oh, maybe this approach didn't work. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
me saying this one word or being too aggressive, maybe being too passive, it didn't serve this person. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But it becomes the almost the end of the world feeling of, oh my goodness, I'm terrible. Who's ever gonna buy from me? And you have no idea. You're making a difference out there. Speaking, I love what you said, speak with integrity, right? If
Mm,
you know that I'm just gonna keep going back to the world of business sales, right?
yeah.
If you're offering a product, a service, then really be committed to it.
Yes.
Stand behind it. Know that it's quality, it's valuable, so that you can really speak with that authority and authenticity. If I know that this car is going to break down, yeah, it works great. Right?
Chugga, chugga, chugga,
Yeah.
chugga. Yeah.
The door is falling off, right? Everything's like taped together, but yeah, if you know you have trash, or you know that
Mm,
it's not actually a good fit for somebody, then it's gonna,
yes.
if you're a reasonable person who has somewhat of a conscience,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel like icky about it. Some
Yeah.
people can expect, yeah, it's great.
I don't care a damn. Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah.
speaks to your character. It really does
Yes.
speak to your
Yeah.
character, your authenticity. And if you can sell something, the old bill of goods, if you can sell them something that you know is not up to par, that reflection is on your character and who you are as a person. And so I think there are those people out there. And we call them scammers today because my goodness, I had a show on a couple of weeks ago with a woman who got caught up in a business scam, and she'd been in
Oh
business for
no.
years, and she ended up going to Peru to meet a client, only to be set up and have 4 years in jail.
Oh wow. That's like a
Exactly.
serious scam. That's ooh.
Serious scam. Not only that, she reached out to the person saying, "This person's scamming me," and it's the same person now scamming her on lawyers and this, that, etc. And to find out that even the American consulate is hand off. Everybody, it was all to do with money making. They actually make money putting people
Wow.
in jail. Then they charge the prisoners to pay their way in jail. It kind of left me with a gobsmack and of like, oh my God, the worst scum in the world to do that to people, right? And but the
Wow.
thing is, like, scams have become so sophisticated today, and people really want to know that you are that person of integrity. And so
Yeah.
they want to know that you are open and honest and can look them in the eyes, and you don't just hear the words, because they can say the words, honey words very easily. Can they
Yes.
feel your authenticity? Can they feel that you're a person of integrity?
Yeah.
Right? And that is so
Yeah.
important. If you can't bring that to your business, I don't believe you have anything.
Yeah. You said the big word in the beginning of this, like
Yes.
your being is with it.
Yeah.
And in my world, I'm in the space of executive coaching, right?
Mm.
And deep, powerful transformational work. And from the outside, what that can look like to somebody is, I'm speaking, somebody's listening, right? And that's all that's happening, right? That's like kind of the mechanic of it. I talk
Yes.
to you, ask you questions, and then we figure out something. But it's just so many more layers to it.
Yes.
It really goes into transformation of the work of seeing the world different, of being with people different. Not that there's anything wrong with anybody going for coaching. It's looking at, how can I bring out the best of myself? How can I bring
Yes.
out more of what's effective? Not label it as good or bad,
Yeah.
but what's effective? What helps me get desired outcome, help certain number of people, whatever that thing is. And
Expand on my beingness.
yeah, expansion.
Mm.
Yes, big word right there.
Yes. And one of the big things, and when you talk about sales a lot, one of the big thing I find in sales, and believe me, I get pitched all the time, is is pitch, 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 but nobody asks the question as if I was even interested in the product, or even if it was something I needed, right?
Wow. Yeah. That's huge,
Hmm.
right? Sarah, I would love for you to have these slippers. They are amazing. They're awesome. They're gonna keep your feet warm, and you've had your feet amputated.
Yes, exactly,
Oh, I didn't even
exactly.
notice that. Oh,
You
right.
can
Know
just
who
stick
you're
them on
talking
the
to.
falsies and nobody will know, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, who
And
are you talking to, and
mm,
what is their problem? I
yes.
hate to say problem, but like, what is it that they want?
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't teach that enough. I mean, it is and I think it's beginning to turn the tide now because people are just so tired of being pitched to.
Yeah.
It is have that coffee conversation with me, whether it's via Zoom or any other way. Get to know me. And then through hearing what I'm saying to you, you will know if you have a product or service for me. But
Yeah.
don't assume that I have got to have your next big best product when it doesn't fit into my life. Because the
Yeah.
other thing is, you may not buy it, but you may buy the person selling it because you really like who they are and you're going to refer.
That's big.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. And that goes a lot to that person's track record, right?
yeah,
Are you
yeah,
somebody who's reputable? Can I trust my name to you? Can I associate with you? Do I trust it? Do I feel the vibe there? Would I go, you know what? You need to go talk to this
yeah,
person. Oh, they need to meet you. And also create that in a powerful way because there are effective referrals and
mhm,
non-effective referrals. If I were to go, you should go talk to Sarah. She's a really nice lady. Okay, that's great. Hey, you have this challenge. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Sarah actually helps people with XYZ. And I thought of you. And I think you guys would have a great conversation. Now that's creating you in their ear of, wow, this is important. She actually can help me with something that I'm having a problem with. And oh my goodness, Alex is doing me a gift by introducing me.
yeah,
I didn't have to go find her. I didn't have to chase somebody down or go down a path that might have eventually led me to you. He just gave me a shortcut.
right. I mean, I'm aging myself. We used to call it the yellow pages, right? Anybody can go into the yellow pages, and now I don't even know. I mean, there's just so much. Like you go to Google, is there?
Yeah.
But just because that company has a flashy site and this and that, etc., and it looks good, doesn't mean that they really do offer good services. And it's like, and also don't even always look at the testimonies and the comments because very often they're bought. It's reach
Mm,
out to somebody and say, what experience did you have? Or you're talking with friends and say, I need a plumber and I have no idea who to trust because they come
yeah.
in all sorts, right? In all packages. And then somebody, I had this company that was so great and they cleaned up after themselves and they didn't charge very much.
Mm,
Who are you going to go to? The referral.
yeah. Yeah. And that's what a big thing I love to teach teams is let's get into the business of astonishing your clients,
Mm, yeah.
of making this a one of a kind experience where people refer TV shows, movies all the time. They don't
Yes.
get paid. They don't get
Yeah.
there's no incentive for me to say, oh, you got to go to this thing. Why not create that wherever you go? Of people just know me as a valuable person, not because you need to get anything, but that's who you are in the
Yes.
first place. And people love to share good things, right? There's
Mm,
still faith in humanity. People do
yes.
good work.
Plenty of people do good work. There's a reason why I do these shows, is to actually show you the people doing the good work. Don't watch Fox News, folks. And that's saying we don't shed light on all the beautiful souls that have really stepped into illumination and been there for other people. That is not something we feature in mainstream media. And so when we look at everything else, we look at everybody with distrust. Yes, we need to look with caution or sensibility, ask the right questions. But again, I go back to if you feel the essence of that person, the core of them, not just what they're saying, right? But
Yeah,
how they're saying it, and ask them their why. Why are they in it? And that will reveal who they are. And then you're going to know, because people have got to buy you before they're going to buy from you.
yeah. And that pre-sale is your inner sale to yourself. Am
Yeah.
I buying into who I am? Am I really connected? Am I
Mm,
convinced? And
mm,
and not in a way like, all right, I got to make the sale. Like I know yeah, this is good. This is a really good thing. I know it is. Like it's not a mantra you're repeating.
right.
It's really more of a wow, I have this gift here, right? I'm going to go back into the space right here with coaching because I've received it, because I've experienced that for my own life and had questions that drew new things out of me that helped my life. Oh my goodness, I would love to gift that
Yeah.
to people. It's exciting for me. It's something that I don't have to manufacture. It's just a transfer. It's paying it forward to somebody, and
Yes.
it's wonderful.
I kind of call her that when Hallie met Sally, I'll have what she's having. You know, it's like you
Yes.
you know when somebody's coming from, like joy.
Yeah.
It's not just like they really are good or they're saying the right things. Is there joy in their voice? Is there
Yeah.
a sense of, purpose in what they're offering you? Is it their conviction, their calling? Because then you really know you've got somebody that's in it for the right reasons. And it becomes intoxicating. It becomes, oh, God, if he feels like
Yeah.
that, I want to feel like that.
That's it. It's yeah, service is contagious. Service never
Mm,
goes out of style.
no, no. You know, there's a lot more coaches in the world right now, and there's a reason for it. Is because we followed a path for a good 30, 40 years of what I call opulence. You've got to have the big car, the big house, the this, the that, the Armani suit, everything to make you look important, the six figures, everything was about
Mm,
that. And then people who have achieved that go, hey, hang on, I'm not happy. I'm working
right.
24 hours a day to maintain this. I don't even have time to be happy. And then their cosmic 2x4 came along, either health or divorce or losing their business or whatever the case
Yeah.
is. And then they restart. All the knowledge that they have hasn't gone away. How the wisdom and how to use that knowledge in a different way that makes them happy puts them on the right path. And that's the beauty of it. But that's why we need coaches that are truly in it for the right reason. And I always say the best coaches are those that have gone through it themselves because they understand, they know what you're facing, and they know um, how to approach you, whether it's one step at a time or leap in because they can feel it, they can feel where you're at, right? So
Yeah.
everybody has their own coaching skill, but those that have come from it and go, this is what I applied to myself, and this is where I am today. That is going to be that invitation to inspiration begets invitation. They're inspired by who you are today. So they're invited to know more about how did you get there?
Yeah. You know, if I'm getting work on my teeth, I want my dentist to have a full set of teeth.
Yes.
That
I've
would
actually
help.
had a dentist with all gold teeth.
Yeah, that's that's a concern. I might
Yes, yes.
yeah.
And he wasn't a good dentist. No.
And it's not to suggest that they need to be perfect, right? Because
Yeah.
we're human, no matter what profession. But there's got to be a level of that person's investment in their own growth, their
Yeah.
own advocacy of being an ambassador to the
Yes.
profession. It's going to
Mm.
be tough to going back to a doctor, right? You know what? I'm going to give you all these pills and I'm going to write you these scripts and this and that. Hey, doctor, would you take this medicine or would you get this surgery? Oh, no, I don't see doctors. I don't
Yes.
trust medicine. Like, what am I doing on this table then?
Yeah, exactly. Would you put the knife down, please?
Oh, okay. Like, count backwards.
Come back and find something happy to. That reminds me of a
Yeah.
movie back in the 70s called The Hospital,
Oh,
where they actually did all the wrong operations on people. So
oh my
take
God.
somebody's leg or take somebody's this or that. And yeah, it was quite a dark movie. But it happens. It does happen. And I think that is, you know, we're inclined to hand ourselves over to coaches, to doctors, to other people saying, well, they're the people of authority. I've got to trust them and I shouldn't question them. To do so would be, you know, who am I? It's your body. It's your brain. It's your psyche. It's you. It's
Your
you.
business, your mind.
You
Yeah.
have every right to go, hey, can you please fill me in on what you're doing and why?
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of this work that I love doing with people because it's really co-created.
Mm,
It's really taking time to slow down, no different. Now, coming back to doctors, right? A doctor will typically will ask you some questions. Hey, why are you here today? How long has it felt this way? Hmm. What happens when, my arm doesn't really work, doctor? Okay, like what does it feel like? They kind of feel you out, test you out, and then they start thinking to themselves, all right, well, this is what we need to do versus my arm's twitching. You know what? I have something for your foot. No, 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 you don't understand. Doc, my arm is not going the right way. Yeah, I have the perfect toe cream. It's gonna be perfect.
yeah,
Get to know that person.
get to know
Find
that
out
person.
what is happening with be in their world.
Yeah, unfortunately, here in BC, Canada, we have 1 million people without doctors. And if you need a doctor, you have a phone call with them. 3 minutes,
Mhm.
one question. That's it.
Wow,
So how do you
that's
know?
gonna be a
Look, I've got
powerful
a pain
question.
here, but you have no idea where the pain's coming from or stem from, right? And they don't either. They're not touching you. They're not asking questions. You've got 3 minutes. Here's a prescription. Goodbye. So yeah, you know it. It's
Wow.
and I think that's a kind of a lot what's happened even in business is that people have got so kind of saturated, especially after COVID, of keeping the head above water, maintaining business, making sure they don't go under or pivoting to the next pivot, that they kind of drop the ball on what really is important. And what really is important is your customer service.
Yeah. I mean, if there's no customers, then what, what kind of business is it? What
Exactly.
happens?
Yeah. Yeah. Your customers are what's opening, keeping your doors open. And yes, the next big thing and the next big pivot, yeah, look at it. Is it right for my business? Is it not? Can I afford it? Will it take more time away from me right now? Don't just jump into it because everybody else is doing it and leave your customers behind because the customer will go back over and over again to someone when they feel I have had the service.
That was about to be my next point of, yes, the customers go through the doors. Make sure that your door is something worth going through and
Yes,
coming back to.
yes. And referring to,
Right.
right?
Oh, you got to come with me to this place.
Yes. Yep. We do it with restaurants, we do it with, retail stores, and we do it with
Right.
all of that. So when we feel that we have been addressed as a customer, we've had the service because people cared, we,
Right.
resolved or gave us whatever it is that we needed. Hell yes, we're going to picket fence that. We're going to tell everybody about that experience.
Absolutely.
The same with a bad experience, though.
That and even if it's a bad experience negative, if a leader at that business goes a little bit of the extra mile, right? Goes out of their way to connect, to get a better understanding of what happened, right? I'm thinking of a restaurant right now.
Mhm.
I want to see your manager,
Yeah.
right? The food is this. I don't like how she talked to me or how he
Mm.
was doing this. Okay, hey, I understand, right? And it's just empathize, just being a human.
Yes.
Can you be a human with another human? And
Hmm.
I think that gets lost, especially in this fast-paced, digitized world where I can say something anonymously, something hurtful, hateful, disgusting, crude, you
Mm.
name it. And there's no accountability on my end. So I could just continue when I'm face to face with somebody. It's a different energy. Now I might be huffed up and puffed up. I might be upset, but I always appreciate
Mm.
someone actually trying to understand what's happening here. All right, well, this is what happened. And then it doesn't be, I don't walk away
Yeah, exactly.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
you
disappointed, but you know what? At least they handle, they
you're
tried.
right.
I thank them for that.
It's the human aspect of it. My son owns a restaurant, and yes,
Yeah.
mistakes happen. He's very popular. Very often, there's long lineups. They've got a small kitchen, um, and it's things to happen. And you've got the trolls that are just going to complain for the sake of complaining. They're those
Hmm.
people, right? And you go, so
Yeah.
sorry, this percentage of your meal or meal taken care of. And if they carry on moaning and bitching, that's just who they are. But most people, when you address them and say, I'm so sorry for the delay, I'm so sorry for this, here's a discount on your meal or take off, here's um, a voucher for next time you come at a certain
Right.
percentage off. We hope that you give us a second chance. This was just a bad day today. And humanize it. And if people don't buy the humanization of it, maybe we need to question whether they're human or not.
I mean, I had an experience like that at a restaurant recently. They brought out an appetizer and it was clearly cooked in like near a fish. I have a shellfish allergy. I was like, you know what? Can you please send this back? It's not really great. Our server goes ahead, takes care of it. The manager actually brings it up to me. He's like, hey, Mr. Dumas, I want to apologize. Thank you for your patience, right? Just
Yes.
really being a gentleman about things. I'm like, thank you. We
Yeah.
wound up having a great meal, me and my family. There was no, I didn't have to go on Twitter
Yeah.
or X now. I didn't have to
God.
go on Facebook and slam this guy,
Yeah.
boycott such and
Yeah.
such a restaurant. They don't know, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to go to that extreme.
I mean, I've had things where I've warned people, and actually it was quite interesting. I had something that I stupidly did online, and you paid for something on it, but I didn't realize because there's nothing that I saw there. Of course, minute print really down at the bottom of they're going to keep charging you over and over for
Ooh,
services that I didn't sign up for. I only paid for one, and I contacted them, and they say, "No, sorry, you don't get your money back." And I said, "But I didn't get the service." And the thing is, I went through PayPal, and I talk to PayPal about this, and they immediately give me my money back and charge them back on it. So it's we have to be very careful, especially online nowadays, because it's so easy. As you talk about the trolls, or you talk about the people that you don't know who they are behind that face or behind this or behind that. And we do have to be
yeah,
careful. And social media is an algorithm. So the algorithm you put out is the algorithm that's going to be received. And if you're ranting and raving and pissing and thising and thatting, then that's what you're going to get back. But if you're out there being supportive of people, and even point out maybe to something, be warned of this, don't do it. This is,
right.
a thingy. Other people will thank you for that warning. If they go ahead, that's their choice, right? But you're warning. You don't have to get all, what we call in your knickers about it. It's
Mhm.
about, it's there's ways of doing it gracefully, right? It doesn't mean let people get away with it, but point out to people that this is maybe not so kosher. But also, we've got to remember that algorithm we're putting out is what's going to come back. So if you have people coming back at you, spitting and spatting, what are you putting out?
Yeah, that's a great opportunity for an audit
Yes.
of who's who am I talking to? Who are the people that I'm spending the most time with? What am I reading? What am I watching? What am I feeding myself? And that only really happens for the folks, for that person
Hmm.
who's open, who's recognizing
Yes.
that something's off, something's not, something's my life isn't working the way that I envision. So where am I going wrong? What do I
Mm.
course correct? And that takes a level of awareness, and that's why I love being in different communities I'm a part of, where someone could just be like, "Hey, I've been noticing something different," and it's not of judgment, it's not of attacking. At least I don't receive it that way.
Hmm.
I recognize it as, wow, this person's actually looking out for me. They're trying to serve
Hmm.
me. They're
Hmm.
they're offering me a new perspective. Because if you let me do my own thing, I think I'm right all the time.
Yeah. Don't we all?
I'm always right, 100% right. That would be an amazing business of myself. 100% right all the time, never wrong. That would be my
Mm.
slogan.
Yes, actually,
But I
there
am
was.
wrong. I do mess up. I do goof up. So
A
I
narcissist
get,
is always right and never wrong. They're never accountable for anything, and nobody wants to, I mean, a narcissist doesn't realize they're a narcissist because there's nothing wrong. But if we're aware
yeah.
and we're not a narcissist, we don't want to behave like them. We want to own and go, okay, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have done that. I need to rethink about how I present. And
How
it
would this
went,
make this person feel?
yeah,
Wow.
yes. And
Wow.
let's talk about feelings because that's something especially in business. Oh no, leave the feelings out of it, leave the emotions out of it. It's all about the bottom line. And no, it isn't. It's about how you make people feel. Who was it? Maya Angelou or somebody that said,
Yeah, Maya Angelou. Yeah.
yes, it's not about what you do for them, it's how
Nobody
you make.
cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes, or
Yeah.
how much you do, it's how you make them feel. How you,
Yes, yes. They'll never get what you said.
yes.
They'll forget what you said, but they'll never get how you made them feel.
Exactly. And that is so
Yeah.
important because those feelings leave a bad taste or leave a good taste. All right.
Yeah.
So, anything that kind of course corrects us or just remind us because, old patterns come up or we get over inundated. I mean, I own it. I screwed up on our show that we were meant to do a few weeks ago because I got overloaded and put your show in a different calendar to the one it should have been in. Mistakes are made, own them, ask for is it asking for forgiveness? I think it's asking for understanding. If people aren't understanding, kind of like, do you want to continue doing business with them? Because we all make mistakes. And if they're not compassionate about those mistakes and they think that they're holier than thou, maybe it's not the kind of person you want to do custom a business with in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about just a buying decision,
Mm,
there's so much emotion that goes into that. No one goes, when I go into a store, into a department store, I won't name them, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. This is a bullseye, right?
yeah.
I go in there for one thing, but I walk away with a cart full of stuff.
Yes.
If I was completely logical, turn right,
Mhm.
pick up thing, in cart, move. No.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks nice, right?
Mhm.
How would this make me feel? Oh, I'd love to smell this way. Ah, that's great. Oh, we could use this. Man, this would be great to eat tonight. We'll have a movie night and
Yeah.
right, it's all emotion. You can't,
Yes.
how do you separate it?
We're not meant to separate it, but we are meant to recognize what the emotions. Did you ever see the movie Inside Out with your kid?
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know, they've
looking
got
forward
it.
to the new one.
Yes, yes, because now they've
Yes.
introduced depression and anxiety, which of course
Yeah.
we're looking at a society right now where anxiety and depression is the highest it's ever been at any time. And so I remember interviewing a few psychiatrists, and I pre-interviewed them before we did the interview, and I told this one psychiatrist about this movie. You've got to see this movie. She went to see it, and when we did the interview, she said, "Thank you. That movie I'm sending every customer to, every client to, because our emotions are an indication of what's going on in our life." And I say, spend your emotion, but don't become emotional over your emotions. Don't let them take over
Mm.
and lead you down the wrong path, but understand why you're feeling in that emotion at that moment.
Yeah, feeling the feeling.
Yeah.
I think there's, especially here in the States, as men, there's this idea that don't show it, tough it out, boys don't cry.
Stiff upper
And
lip.
for women, I mean, for women, you have to be a strong woman.
Mm,
You don't cry at the office, no crying in baseball.
yeah.
And where are we supposed to release it? Where are we supposed to express the joy? And then when we're scared or we're upset, bottle that in. Like, where does it go? It's gonna leak out somewhere. It's
Yes.
gonna leak out in how I talk to my spouse. It's gonna leak out how I am with my children. It's gonna leak out how I treat my body if I'm eating well, if I'm
Mm.
sleeping right. It's showing
It's,
up somewhere.
it's going to cause disease, because you're changing the water in your body, which is 70 to 90%. Have you ever seen the Mato's water experiment?
Yes, I've heard
Yeah, the
about
three
this.
waters in three different rooms. One left alone doesn't change. One is given
Yeah,
negativity and it goes black. Another one crystallizes its positivity. They could
yeah,
measure the crystallization as a higher frequency. If we are 70 to 90% water in our body and we're bombarded with negativity all the time, or fear or anything else, what does that do to the waters in our body that are supporting our organs, supporting our brain, supporting our
right.
very beingness? And so it is essential that we do look at how we feel, because how we feel, we're going to project out. And so if we're
Yeah,
not feeling right, we need to give ourselves that time to look at and heal and get those waters up into crystallization again. Otherwise, we spill over and maybe not in the right way.
yeah. A great indicator of that is our words. Because
Mm,
I'm a big believer our words creating our world.
hmm.
Like our words literally matter. Like for
Yes.
us to speak right now, someone had to speak out at some point. Wouldn't it be great if we had a computer that had a camera? And from that camera, we can go from America to the UK to Australia to everywhere. Someone had to speak this into existence,
Yes.
this microphone, my
Yes.
keyboard, my mouse, all
Yes.
of that. And speaking of our feelings, wow, I'm so depressed. I'm such a loser. Never goes my way. That's black poison
Yeah.
water you just
Mhm.
ingesting. And like
Yeah.
I love that illustration you put, right? Our organs, like, oh my goodness, my life.
Yes.
Yeah, my life
Yes.
system, my ecosystem of me.
Yes. If that breaks down, it doesn't matter how successful you are, how rich you are, how powerful you are. If that breaks down, that's the vessel you're in. That's everything you are. You're inside out, literally.
Yeah. Full circle, yeah.
Full circle. Um, I think what we're seeing a lot more from people in business today, and back in 2018, I did this wonderful series, Let's Get Synced, and it was about the emotional climate around climate change. And I was interviewing people from mostly throughout Europe and the East, etc., business people, ambassadors, people that were involved with actual climate change. But it was all about until we change our minds about the climate we're in, a physical climate we're in, but the climate that we create for ourselves, that others we invite others into, until we
Yeah.
change that, we're going to constantly be on a drought or floods or anything else that's going on right
Oh,
now. So, it's the climate of who we are. And there was one guy, pure necessity. It's about investing in people and planet for profit, not profit at the expense of people and planet. In the last 30, 40 years, it's been that way. And we've seen the detriment that has been. So the businesses that are truly enriched and abundant today has got nothing to do with the e-commerce or how many billions they have. It's those that enrich others through the work that they do that
yeah.
create the abundance for everyone.
Yeah. It's it's that aspect of it, and also just tying it back in with the words, right? Them communicating their story,
Yes.
them enrolling you into their story of
Mm.
who they are, what they're doing, why they're doing it. And that creates the momentum of people like, you know what, I love what this stands for.
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
be a part of it. We are a collective of individual parts, but together with
Mm.
strength, numbers move, right? I'll give you an example of this. As we're recording this the week before, I was out in Arizona for an event, and there was about 250 people there. We had set a target to raise $100,000 for this organization, Operation Underground Railroad. They
Mm.
combat child exploitation, human trafficking
Mm.
across the world, right? And it was a 2-day event, and toward the end, the numbers were looking okay. We raised about 57,000, which is great. That we
Yeah.
could
Yes.
raise the rafters for that. But at the same time, recognizing we had made a commitment.
Mm.
Let's mobilize people. Let's enroll people into this big vision of what we're up to. And one of the hosts of the event, he stood on the stage, and he just started getting people's commitments. 1,000 here, 500
Mm.
there,
Yeah.
2,000 here. A woman was willing to donate her wedding ring, which is worth thousands. Right.
Wow.
This is how, and this wasn't coming from a place of bullying, of you
Right.
better do this, right?
Inspiration.
Arm twisting. Yeah,
Inspiration.
inspiration
Mm.
and powerful commitment. And we
Mm.
raised over $111,000
Wonderful. Wonderful.
for that.
I've done quite a number of shows on sex trafficking and how big it is and the billion-dollar industry that the sex
Yeah.
trade is. It's horrific. I have a book
Yeah.
coming out the 20th of February called Our Forgotten Children series, which is an anthology around our children, how we're letting them down, how we're not
Wow.
supporting the families, things that we need to pay attention to. This is book one in the series. Actually, just this morning, I did the chapter interview on one of our foster parents who's 17 years been doing this, over 20 children going through, and every single one of them with an education, because she doesn't just throw them out when they time out, she keeps them until
Yeah.
they're educated. And it's her love, care, passion, and investment in each one, Journey and Foster's boys, that has allowed them to become who they are today because
Wow.
they weren't forgotten. So organizations are like what you're supporting there and the work that's doing there, people have no idea. I mean, back in 2017, when I did a show on sex trafficking, at that point, it was a $155 billion industry a year. That's how
Right.
many years ago? God knows what it is now. And the
Right.
sickening thing is the people that are around it are generally judges and high people, politicians, etc. People that you are meant to be in trust, you'll find out the people. It's become a sickness, an absolute sickness. So it's not just the money you raise, it was the awareness that you raised. And if it
Yeah.
gets people talking about it, I didn't know, I wasn't aware. What can I do about it? How can I volunteer? How can I get the conversation going? Because when we're
Yes.
aware, we care and we can find the solutions collectively together.
Yeah. well said. Can you please repeat the name of that book that you're going to release?
Yes, it's Our Forgotten Children.
Our Forgotten
You will
Children.
find it on the orchardofwisdom.org, Our Forgotten Children book. It's out on Amazon in ebook on February 20th and paperback the following week. And all of the proceeds gets divvied out amongst all of the authors to support organizations that are already helping families and children. So this is a fundraiser book and a caring book and an educational book. And each person has contributed an incredible chapter in there of things that they've had to face, how systems have let them down, what we need to do, how we need to come together. Because the reason we have that sex trafficking is because we're not paying attention to it. We're overlooking, we're not protecting, we're not giving our families and children the support they need so that they don't become vulnerable children. And the interesting thing is
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's the runaways and the down and outs. It's not. They target rich kids sometimes for for a ransom, but sometimes those rich kids raise a lot of money elsewhere in another country on auction. So it's, all kids are vulnerable to this, and it's
Yeah.
a sickness that needs to be definitely dealt with. So very, very important. But I'm delighted to know that you are doing that work because we're looking at a society today where we're looking at some deplorable behavior by people in
Yeah.
power, absolutely
Yeah.
deplorable. And it's a real reflection on what we have forgotten to teach or what we let go of. The sheer morals,
Yeah.
the respect and the dignity and what the real truth is, and how truth verified cannot be denied. And for as long as we support that, we are saying that really humanity is going to hell in a basket. And that is a way a lot of businesses, especially from people like them, have gone. That's how they conducted their business. I think we're seeing a trend, and I'm sure that you are seeing this in your coaching business, where people want to say no. I want to stand for something. I want to be a person where my word is my honor. I want to be a person that people can trust. I want to give a service that truly serves others. I want to stand for something. I want a meaningful purpose because they truly understand that's the enrichment and the abundance. And it isn't about making the fast buck. Anybody that comes at you, I can make you 10 figures in a week, turn the corner because it's not going to be in an ethical way, right? And if money is the driver, then get into a different car. Money will come when the enrichment and abundance and integrity comes first.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the reverse game, right? We call
Yeah.
it, yeah, inside out, right? I have to be the person in order to have the things.
Yes.
My doing, my actions will come from the being
Yes.
part. And yeah, for business owners or leaders out there, I think they've recognized that, especially over the last, now we're 4 years
Yes.
from the pandemic, of people recognizing that there there's I hate to say this word, but I'll say it in the way that it's intended, like a demand for humanity in leadership. There's no
Yes.
acceptance of or of tolerating do it this way.
Yeah.
I have a choice. I can go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Why should I stay here? And some people might look at that like, oh, these young kids, they're not they're not hard workers, or they just want to leave. They have no staying power, right? They could do they're wishy-washy flip-flops. No, it's a new workforce.
They're selective.
It's yeah, it's more than
Mm.
just what do I get?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, how does this help? How does this make me better? How does this make the world better?
Hmm.
There's more consciousness around it.
Exactly. And that's what we need. It's lifestyle management. Your work is a portion of your day, your
Hmm.
family, yourself, everything. It's not all about, as I said, I have no idea how many people I've interviewed that have, big figures, big CEO and everything else, lose it all and go, I am so much happier. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be poor to be happy, right? It means that when you do and can make the money, what are you going to do with it? Because there must always be a certain give back and support, like organizations that you have just talked about, something that you look at and go, I struggled with this coming up. What if I
Mm.
invested money? What if I invested money in Alex and say, Alex, I want you to take some people that want to start a business or want to get into business, don't quite know how to do it, or they've had a bad experience. I'm going to pay you to help them. Now that's called paying it forward. It's taking some of your money and investing it in humanity, in people. If we invested in people and life forms and planet, we really would be back in abundance instead of depletion. Mother Earth is pissed off with us right now. We have not treated her very well, and we're not treating each other very well. And I think this is our cosmic two by four at the present moment. The politicians that we're seeing, and obviously COVID and everything else. I think it was, our flattening. It's time to rethink. It's trying to review, and it's time to redirect.
Yeah, well said. Definitely.
And that's what you do. So you work with, is it organizations or solopreneurs or smallpreneurs? Who do you work with?
Yeah, I work with a lot of solopreneurs and organizations too. So usually the solopreneurs, CEOs, executives on a one-on-one basis, but I do offer team group experiences. But I love the one-on-one work because it just gives that person an opportunity to think,
Hmm.
to just be in a space where they they can be heard.
Yeah.
And from their words, right, we can create something different of how they're seeing things, of how they're being with people, what they're saying to themselves, right? What's the
Yeah.
water?
Yeah.
How's that fountain, right? Can
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
work on the filtration system? Do we need to,
Yes.
is there something clogging here? Do we need to like rinse and,
Yeah.
kind of siphon for the gold? That's what I always look for. I'm looking for the gold. I'm listening for the gold in somebody.
Hmm.
And when they can see it, then it's game on. It's
Yes.
over.
Yes, exactly. And I think when we have a problem with it is, again, this outside living of expectation. You're only popular if you've got this many likes, or you look like this, or you
Mm.
associate with that, or da da da. And slowly, as you pointed out, the young people going, you've got some people that have completely bought into it, and I've got to have all these likes. But you've got the other people going, who cares? I rather have a small group of people around me that I can trust and that I like, and that we're a community that supports each other. I don't need that validation from 5 million strangers. So,
Yeah.
I think it is changing. I mean, it's still going to be a while. It's that um, third dimensional people that's still thinking on the outside life, and it's up to us. We can take a horse to water, we can't make it drink. However, you leave it there
Mm.
long enough and it's going to realize it's thirsty.
I heard this great quote on Shannon Sharp's podcast. He was interviewing Usher, and they're talking about entertainment, obviously, but he said something really, really powerful. He said, if you live for the applause, then you're
Mhm.
going to die by the booze.
Right. Oh gosh, yes, that's a good one. I'll give you another podcast to watch, which is one that really had a huge effect on me. I'm a huge fan of Trevor Noah, and
Yes.
the Jay Shetty and Trevor Noah. That
Mm.
it was so impactful. I mean, everything they were saying, and Trevor to me is just such an incredibly profound young man. He's so well balanced in the way he looks at things, but he's completely open in this interview of his own struggles and
Wow.
is and how a lot of comedians do. And I think the reason why he left the Daily Show, and in all honesty, I'd love to interview him, and I really would think this is part of the yes, is that he was so tired of telling jokes about Trump from the day he
Right.
came in. How many more laughs can you get out of it? And to the point, it's totally ridiculous. So I think he was tired of that. And of course, he's gone on to do many successful, and he's hosting the Grammys and all of that. But that is such a very powerful interview between Jay Shetty and him. And that's something that we can do for ourselves, right? Listen to podcasts like this. Listen
Yeah.
to what other people that you admire and what they're going through. Humanize them, don't idolize them.
Mm. Yeah. That's a big part of it, right?
Hmm.
Of recognizing the human in them, not the pedestal.
Yes.
They're so great. I'm so
Yeah.
fortunate. No, it's just at the end of the day, they have problems. Everybody's got problems. Everybody's
Everybody
got
does.
their stuff. They may have figured out a way to do something you want to do,
Hmm.
right? This is that's why I love podcasts because
Yeah.
they're these mini master classes. If there were podcasts that existed when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, I probably would have done a lot better because I've been fascinated by what this athlete's doing or by what this musician's up to
Hmm.
or this this thought leader.
Yes. Yeah, and I've been honored enough to have all of these people, maybe not the ones that are the big celebrities, but certainly the people that are out there doing the work through the last nearly 12 years, including musicians. That's my guilty pleasure. I've got a for love of music genre, and a lot of the musicians I've interviewed have been in the business for 30 or 40 years, like the Planters, Joe
Yeah,
Coleman, all Gerald Albright, and I recently had a Gino on, and they're all still in the music. And yes, there's the working side of it, the next gig and the next gig. But
yeah,
the one reason I love interviewing them is because their soul, they're already in tune with their soul. They're already in tune with their soul purpose. Their heart and soul is already connected. And everything they do comes from the heart and the soul, and you feel it. You can feel it in the music, you can feel it in the words. It's just that how do they bring that out to people is the journey.
mm,
And I think they're a great example of kind of being connected to self, of who you are, not what everybody wants you to be or who you think you should be, but who are you really? And step into the
yeah,
essence of who you are because you are enough. And yes, you can go and learn how to better yourself and skill yourself more and learn the skills and the techniques in order to present your essence, but discover your essence. That's
yeah.
what people want.
As you were speaking, that this question popped into my mind. With the work that you do, right? The podcast and just how you serve people, how would you describe that as an instrument, right? Like,
Mm.
what kind of instrument are you for the work that you do?
It's funny because I use an analogy of the instrument all the time. We're in the self-discovery of what our instrument is. We learn how to play it and we can be soloists. But now we must need to join an orchestra, and each and every one of us in our strength harmonizing together in order to make that orchestra become the symphony that translates out. I think
Yeah.
in a lot of ways I'm the conductor of bringing those instruments together in this orchestra. Um, the reason why my other platform is called the Orchard of Wisdom, ready for picking or clicking, is that, an orchard full of fruit, just ready, fruit of wisdom, ready for picking, in this case, clicking. And that's the reason why I've gone into books and everything. So I think that I am that library that brings you that illumination proudly through the years of what I've done and the people I've met. It's changed my life. I wrote my memoir last year, which I've still got to put in paperback, but it's out in ebook. Um, and I realize how much I have changed in doing this because you cannot come across the kind of stories you've heard, the kind of struggles that people have gone through, but yet who they have chosen to be today and not be inspired and not reflect back on yourself. And what more can I be? What more can I do? Who am I really? And I mean, that's the greatest gift it's given me. But the gift I give everyone else is wisdom from people like you.
Wow. Well, thank you, conductor. That's definitely powerful, right? Yeah, it's being able to transfer that energy, right? I love the conductor now as I think about it because although there's nothing really physical in their hand outside of like, it's
Yeah.
the wand, right? But they're completely embodying
Yes.
the piece because
Hmm.
they're here in this section and
Mm.
now you
Yeah.
and this and
Yes.
no, right?
Yeah.
And it's just directing these sound waves, these
Hmm.
and this frequency in the air.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
And we are powerful. We are powerful, beautiful instruments ready to learn how to play. And, we've got that beautiful symphony inside of us. And I'm glad you mentioned energy because everything is energy, everything is frequency, everything is a vibration. And the
Yeah.
higher we bring our consciousness to the higher frequency, the higher vibration, the more we step into that love frequency where we cannot do harm to anyone else, to do so is to harm ourselves. And that love frequency and coming from that energy is that love speaks louder than anything else because you put it out there, and that's what people feel from you before even they hear you. And I think that's, if we could all rise up to that, all rise our consciousness up to that love vibration, love what you're doing, why you're doing it, whom you're serving, how it benefits them, how it
Hmm.
serves the world. If we could all step into that, wow, what a world we would live in.
Yeah, it would be outstanding. And I think
But
there's
you're
hope
doing
for
that. You're
it.
doing that. But you're doing that. You are a conductor in your own way, because what you're doing is you're taking those instruments and helping them refine, helping them truly
Yeah,
listen to the music. Right? Yes, I know you can play this, but how about you feel the music? How about you become the music? And when they become that music and they feel that music, they now know where the music needs to go. But you connect them to the music inside of them.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Thank you for reflecting that back. That's, I had a conversation with somebody a few months ago, and they were asking me something of a similar question of what's my favorite instrument,
Mhm.
and yeah, I was expressing to him that it was the electric guitar, and right then and there, I went right back into the moment when I first got it, actually leading up to it, where I had researched it. I was 19, 20 at the time, broke college student, and I was completely obsessed with it.
Mhm.
I would look at it all day online. I would print out pictures from the library because that's where you go to print out
Yes.
things. There was no real home PCs yet. And I just remember saving up, trying to get this. And then eventually that happened. I worked it out. My dad gave him the money he ordered on his credit card, and it came in the mail. I just remember that being one of the best days of my
Yeah.
life. Just something that I worked for, created,
Yeah.
and I had this instrument now where I can express myself in a different way.
Exactly. What was that first note like?
Yeah, like just tuning, just hearing it plug
Yeah.
into an amplifier and
Mm,
just hearing it roar. I mean,
mhm.
it's and that's what I get that same feeling with coaching
Yes.
when I'm working with somebody and they can see not only can they see a new possibility, but they can take an instant action,
Mm,
an inspired action, like right then and there. That is that's a touchdown for me.
yeah.
That's I'll
It's
take that all
connection,
day, every
isn't
day.
it? They're connecting.
Yeah,
They've connected
yeah,
with you to connect with themselves. And when they become at one with that instrument, that connection, that relationship, that becomes the
yeah,
building blocks of everything else for them to do. Right? And music is
yeah,
really, really important to me. I listen to music while I'm working, and if I'm having down days, music is my salvation completely. And it's not always the
yeah,
words; it's very often it's just the music itself. And it's actually been proven scientifically that the frequency of certain music actually resets our equilibrium in ourselves, and that's why people turn to music so much to rebalance themselves or to
yeah.
express themselves. So I think having music as something that has been your inspirer, that wants to make you be in tune with others, right?
Yeah.
Is a really good foundation to come from.
And it also represents for me how life can be a certain path, right? Like the notes on a staff, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about some of the great minds, musical minds that ever existed, Miles Davis, Jimi Hendrix,
Hmm.
Prince, people that understand these rules, but they can bend.
Yes.
They can do something
Yes.
with it, a pause here,
Yes.
a little fast pace here,
Mm.
just these little things that they can hear, that they can see, and then you might even ask them like, "How did you do that?" They have no idea.
No, they just did because they are at one with the music. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw Santana live, and just like,
Oh,
yeah, absolutely great. But I go back to, because yes, I'm old. I go back to 1975 in Rome, where a friend took me to this place after hours, and I said, what are we doing here? He said, just wait, just sit and wait. And then uh, one after the other, musicians came in, grabbed a drink, said nothing, went to picked up an instrument and just started playing. And then another instrument from another gig and an instrument from another gig. And they just nodded
Wow.
each other, and maybe not even said anything. And they all start to play. And then they're just so in tune with each other. It's music on the spot. And they just jammed together because they played from the heart and soul and not from expectation or dictation, just how they felt. Ah, 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 ah. Absolutely fantastic. Total nectar. And I wish I could do more of that, more of that. But that is the truth. That is the soul truth. And that when the soul and the heart connect and it lifts the spirit up into action, then the mind knows what it needs to know when it needs to know it. But, encouraging more people to tune into their soul wisdom and really hear the heart truth and really ignite that spirit into action, that clarity of mind is their go, the green light, go.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that story. And what that comes up for me is these two things, right? Them being master creators
Mm-hmm.
of being present, recognizing what's happening, right? If you were to watch a concert on mute, it wouldn't make any sense
No.
because, like you said, there's a nod, there's a look,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's something that they all see and they adjust. And two, it's and this kind of goes back in the business. It's powerful to watch a master at their craft
Mm.
where you know that they've done so much work behind the scenes that
Yes.
this doesn't just happen like
Yeah.
purple haze doesn't just
No.
happen.
I know.
There's rehearsals, there's
Yeah,
practice,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
writing there's writing it out, there's thinking of each note, and then
There's instincts.
with
Hmm.
yeah, then there's the instinctual
Yeah.
side of,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna play it this way tonight.
Yeah.
And everybody else has to, the drummer's got, oh, he's
Yeah.
doing it this way, and the bassist is
They're in
figuring it out.
tuned with each other. And that's the beauty
Yeah,
of it because they're so part of that music that if it's changed slightly, they don't get thrown off. Right. They
right.
just, oh, he's in that groove, he's in that vibe. Right. And they just go along with it, which I think is beautiful, absolutely wonderful. So I think music is very, very important in our life
Yeah.
because it becomes that kind of conductor and I mean, it frees us up, to let essence come and breathe and bring that because when you're inspired by somebody, it's because you feel their truth. You feel their
Yes.
wisdom. You feel they're speaking to you. And then that's
Right.
the invitation for us to go and seek what we need to seek in order to feel, not to become them, but to feel like them.
Yeah. And the same can apply for business.
Yeah.
When I watch a great speaker on a stage, the words speak to me and they move through me as well,
Mm,
right? They
exactly.
move me to
Mm,
action, whatever that is.
hmm. Yes. They ignite you.
Yeah.
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 And then, you're doing business and you're coaching businesses, but really what you're doing is setting the music free inside of them, right? And,
Wow.
and they bring that up to
I might
every
have to grab
aspect.
that. I might have to use that.
Oh, go ahead, baby, go ahead.
That is wonderful.
And the thing about it is when you meet somebody, whether you meet them in business or you meet them personally, you want to know they're okay, they're wearing a different hat at different situations, but underneath that hat, they're the same person. That's so important that they are the same person.
Yeah, that core, that
Mm.
being. And that's not to say that they won't get upset and they might, "Oh, no."
Yeah, exactly.
But if they
Timid.
can, but I call it coming back home.
Yes.
Like who I
Yes.
am at the source is love and kindness,
Mm.
abundant, right? I'm a man of faith. I believe in God. I believe that we're made in His image. That for me represents dominion over my body, dominion over the world, not in a dominating
Yes.
way, but in the sense of, oh, I create things. I have my abilities, I have my gifts, and it's my obligation of sorts to express that, to be that as much as possible, to be that in full.
Yeah.
Because God doesn't go, "Oh, I'm gonna half create the world. Who am I to make the moon? I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna just leave that little." kind
Whole
of
limit.
quarter moon that imagine a quarter moon just being that forever.
Yeah.
That'd be ridiculous. It's got to be a whole. It's got to
Yes.
be
A whole.
complete.
And we are made in the image of God. We are particles of God. And when you look at the universe particles and you look at the human particles, it's all same signature. And so,
Yeah,
if God made us, if we're made in God's light, then we are creators ourselves,
that's
right?
it.
Because that was God's purpose.
Point blank period. Yeah.
Hmm.
Our what was our one of our commands from him? Go out and multiply,
Yes.
produce.
Hmm. We've done that. How many billions do we have on the on the planet right now? We've certainly done that. But this is something I think that's so very, very important in life is that you can be as successful, um, as top of the game, as rich as possible. But where is your core? What is your core? Because when your
Mm,
core is with dignity, integrity, compassion, and love, and everything you do comes from that place, then everybody's going to benefit from your success.
yeah, I a coach, a mentor of mine, he was able to put my mentality, my life's work, my purpose, and boiled it down into two simple words of what I stand by. Everybody wins.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do we have to have a winner and a loser? Right? There's
Yeah.
plenty of room in the world for every one of us to be winners because we're all part of that orchestra. And if that orchestra doesn't fit you, there's another orchestra, or maybe you're in a band, or maybe you're meant to be the soloist backed by the orchestra. The whole thing is don't kind of limit, expand. I don't believe in ivory towers. I believe ivory
Mm,
towers disconnects people from the roots of why they started something. I believe in expansion of arms around the world, the ripple effect. So be that illuminating light that sheds light on other people's possibilities and let that keep shining and rippling around the world.
yeah, period.
Now we really have to bring the show to an end. So we carry on talking forever. And of course, talking about everybody wins, you actually have the Alex Dumas, Dumas coaching.com, and Facebook. Sorry, is it F? It says F and then
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
wins.
it's through my website. It's a free audio gift that I created. It talks about 10 different principles for win-win communication. And as I said many times on the show, right, our words matter. So as we're
Yes.
communicating where we're coming from, who we're being, that opens up the opportunity for you to win, for me to win. I mean, I would say in this conversation, we've both won. We both gained some
Hmm.
new perspectives. We've gained this just a really rich and fruitful conversation. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you very much. So you can go to Alex Dumas, AlexDumas coaching, coaching.com, and you'll find everything on his site. He's in LinkedIn, Alex Dumas, YouTube, the real Alex Dumas. Why was there a,
Yeah.
a fake one out there?
Hey, just in case I want to cover bases.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's good. And of course, you have your own podcast, which is Love, Serve, Care. Love
Yes,
Serve
that's
Care. Is that right? Love Serve Care?
yes, yeah, love serve care. Yeah, for over 3 years, every day delivering 3-minute episodes, except for today as the day we're recording, because I released an hour-long one. It was an acknowledgement of everyone who was involved with this event that I
Mm,
mentioned earlier on the show.
right.
But
So you
every
do
day, 3 minutes, and it's
little
just
epiphanies.
little, yeah, little
Yeah.
bite-sized insights
Mm,
from myself.
great. Wonderful. I really am happy that we did manage to get this show here today.
Yeah,
And
same.
and there's some people, they're the rah-rah people. I want to get going. Rah, rah, rah. Okay, this coach is for you. But if you want somebody that really likes to listen to the beat of life, really wants to get in touch with the soul and the heart and the meaningful purpose of why you're here, then Alex is for you. Kind of laid back, but push you forward, but let you discover who you are because he's going to show you how to see yourself, how to hear yourself, and how to reverberate and relook at who you really are and allow that to come through. Let him be your guide. It doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur or you're in a corporation and you just need to reset people. If they are truly coming for who they are and the beautiful essence of who they are, I guarantee profit and progress will come.
Wow, I'm gonna replay that for the rest of my life. That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you for creating me. Thank you for seeing me, for noticing who I am and the difference I make. So much appreciated.
I appreciate you being out there. We need people like you out there. Um, the world is in trouble and the focus is on the wrong thing. It's on the 10%. And my whole purpose is focus on that 90% of good that's out there. And you're part of that orchestra. You're part of that equation. And there isn't one size that fits all. You're going to fit the people that really do want to go down and deep and feel and kind of groove to where they're going, right?
It
So
is a groove.
it is a groove. I always say with music, I want it to elongate me. I want to feel it. So you want people to have that kind of connection with you, where they feel you. All right. And so in feeling you, they're then going to open up to feel themselves and recognize how to feel themselves. So if you are somebody that's struggling in business or at a crossroads in life, or know that you need to change where you're at, reach out to Alex and start that process, because you are meant to be you. We need you in the world. Please let your light shine. No more dimming. Okay. So thank you, Alex. And to everyone else out there, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.